Well, good morning, everyone. I know it's right at 7:30, but we have a super full agenda, and I've threatened people to stick to their time so that you guys have enough time to brainstorm together. So thank you for joining us today on kind of our first foray into like a major event webinar for training. We're used to gathering together and sharing breakfast. So if you're one of the lucky ones that got a gift card from a local coffee shop, we hope that you enjoy that and visit a lot of our local businesses as we start getting out into the world. I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Roberts. She's our, I would still call her new CEO, and she's going to welcome us. And then we will kind of just get started into the meat and potatoes of what we're doing today. So thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks everyone. Welcome. As Kylie said, I'm new. It's been 6 months now, which is hard to believe because it feels like 6 months has gone by like that. I started on February 2nd, I think it was, and within about 6 weeks, we all started working from home. So it's been kind of crazy. I also feel kind of silly welcoming you because I know that there are many people on this call who have been doing this multiple years over, and I feel as if you guys actually might know more about United Way than I do at this point. But I do think it's just really neat that you guys keep coming back year after year and helping out and believing in United Way. So thank you for that. You know, I just wanted to think about this spring and summer real quickly and how it really showed the vast needs of what our community needs are when it comes to COVID-19. It just really highlighted the disparities that we have and the needs that everybody has when it comes to what we need in order to be able to be successful. And so just thank you when you are pulling together these campaigns at your companies, keeping those needs in mind and the people who are behind them and the individuals is really important. Just yesterday, Kylie was sharing with us that we got a thank you letter from a group who helps migrant children, and we had given them $1,800, which $1,800 isn't very much, but the overwhelming thanks and gratitude that they had was unbelievable. And Kylie and I were talking about it and we were like, think about that. That's like 10 people giving $15 a month, or that's like 5 people giving $30 a month. And look at what we were able to provide when it comes to these kids. We were able to provide boxes, culturally appropriate food boxes for these kids to take home during the weekends. And I think, Kylie, if I remember right, they said that really the only this summer has been not full of bright spots, but one of the bright spots was the United Way food boxes every Friday. So that's the type of thing that I hope you guys continue to think about as you're working this year for the campaign. Just thank you so much. Know that the work that you're doing is important. And I think Amy Geiger said it best, right? Every dollar counts and we count every dollar. So thank you. Welcome. I will have to jump off in about a half hour for another meeting, but I'll just be hanging out here listening and kind of stalking from the crowd.
Thanks, Kristen. And now we're going to hear from Carrie Chase, who is the boss of all things community investment.
Oh, I like that title. I wonder if I could I put that on my like little tagline? Am I okay to share my screen quick? I think I can. Okay. So I don't have a lot because I only have 10 minutes that I can share with you guys. So I'm going to make it as fast as I can because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. But I want to kind of take a different approach than I think that you guys, the ones that have been here before, might be used to. And so, you know, if you look on your agenda, what is written there is, what do you get for your money? And that's really important, right? I mean, really, when you're investing in something, you want to know what you're investing in. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit, then I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to talk about why it's important to invest in United Way and why United Way is important. I think those are two key things that we want to make sure we're very clear about moving forward, and we're really proud about actually too, and the work that we've done and the community has done. So if we look at our mission, it's really easy to talk about what do you get for your money? So our mission is to unite the caring power of communities to invest in effective solutions that improve people's lives. And so what I'm going to talk about a lot today is that word solutions. That is what you really are investing in. They're solutions to the needs or gaps that we have in our community. So we know that it's really, really easy to talk about the needs in our community. We know that if you look at education for children, that low-income children are 13 times more likely to not graduate from high school. I mean, that's a staggering number, right? We know the needs, we know the data. We know that just in our 5-county area, if you look at the reading proficiency gap between children who are on free and reduced lunch and children who are not, it's 18%. So just that one factor of where you fall in with to qualify for a free and reduced lunch automatically is an 18% reduction in your reading proficiency. That's huge. We also know that in our 5-county area, that 30% of our families are below the 250% the federal poverty level. That's a pretty big number as well. And so I think what's really easy is for us to continue to talk about all the needs. We know that there are these things going on, and we also know in a time with a pandemic that we're seeing a lot of those needs highlighted even more. But that means that we've got to be even more effective and efficient in our solutions. So before I kind of start bragging up United Way and what we do, I want to be very, very clear that everything that we do, it takes multiple people, it takes multiple organizations. It really takes, in order to, I mean, if we look at the needs that we're looking at, we also know that it goes really deep, right? It goes into inequities. It goes into multi-generational facets. There's kind of a lot of those underlying issues. And so there's not going to be just a one organization. United Way isn't going to just solve these problems. An ASAC is not going to just solve those problems. It's going to take everyone. And it's not going to just take our funded programs. It's going to take, obviously, our donors, because we need the investments for the solutions. It's going to take volunteers, which Angelica is going to really get into next, I believe. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. And it really takes a lot of our community stakeholders. I mean, we partner a lot with the libraries. We partner with Kirkwood. We partner with the foundation. So if you look at all the different organizations and everything that we have going on and all the people, we know we can get to our effective solutions. We know that we need to do it in conjunction and in collaboration. Okay, so now is where I'm gonna brag on United Way a little bit. So it's really easy for us to, yes, we grant money, we raise money, we grant money. We actually do multiple grants at the moment where we are granting out millions of dollars, and that is wonderful, and that is what helps the specific programs work in collaboration for our solutions. But there's also another component that United Way does, and I want to highlight, and that's that we're the convener. So we bring the community around the shared goals. What is it that our community needs, and who all do we need around the table to solve it? We collaborate. We want to get information, we want to share information, and we want to be part of designing the solutions in that collaboration. And then we activate. You know, I think one of the key ingredients that we see missing a lot of time is that activation. And starts talking, and they really want to come up with, wow, we could do this or we could do this. But to really get it started is key. And that's another area that United Way is in. And lastly, you know, we connect. We need to make sure that we're connecting everything that we're doing back to our mission to find effective solutions for all people. And as we're looking at, you know, our own internal and with diversity, equity, and inclusion, we really need to make sure that we are designing solutions and finding solutions for all people. So I'm going to really quick we do all those great things. We do those things. And I'm going to give you examples of those in just a second. But I also want to make sure that you understand that we also are doing what we have done in the past. We fund programs that are under education, under financial stability, and under health. And really our goals are, we want more healthy people, right? We want social and emotional and physical well-being for all. We need to provide access and affordability in healthcare for people. And that's what a lot of our programs are able to provide. We do want more financially stable people. You know, we, especially with the pandemic right now, we need to make sure that people aren't continuing the cycle of just getting to where they're doing okay, and one thing goes wrong and it sends them right back into that crisis cycle. So how do we do that? You know, we fund programs that for further education, employment, training. We want our employers to be able to retain their, you know, their employers through things. And then just that variety of the safety net. So one of the big things that we knew is that when the pandemic first hit, that we need to make sure that everyone had enough food, you know, and so we did food drives. HACAP is one of our funded partners, and they were key in being able to distribute food to people. So that's what that, you know, those safety net services are housing, again, to address those critical needs. And then in education, we just really want more kids on track to succeed in school, work, and life. We know that if a child is proficient in reading at a third grade level, that is going to increase their ability to finish school and to be successful. But that also means you can't just wait until third grade. We have to set a lot of strategies in place to get that individual to be where they need to be. So we are all the things. We are also making sure that we're still funding under those same 3 pillars that all of you probably know, and know that that's what we do best. I'm going to go back really quick to this slide and finish up here because I really want to, I want to take a chance and share some of the solutions that are occurring in our communities and that are effective. So Reading into Success is one example. Reading into Success is provides programs for learning, education, reading proficiency. One example, we're not going to have clear data for this year, obviously, but last summer there was a summer reading program. The children who participated in the summer reading program to prevent summer backslide, so their reading proficiency didn't decrease over the summer, 90% of them did not backslide or improved. So of the kids that just did this summer reading program, 90% were successful in the goal that was established. That is huge. That is really, really big. VITA is a great example of a collaborative that happens, and that is, you know, we have banks, we have funded partners, and this is our tax preparation for individuals who qualify, and that has put millions of dollars back into the pockets of individuals in our community. And we get great support from a lot of our volunteers and from stakeholders. So that's another great example. Let's see. Oh, another Reading into Success great strategy is shared information. And this is the one where without United Way being key in the middle of this, it wouldn't have happened. We were able to actually convene an education advisory where we have representation of all 4 school districts in the Cedar Rapids area that come together for solutions. And one of the solutions that we needed was that our after-school programming would have access to some of the educational outcomes in school, attendance, grades, those kinds of things. Basically, the school districts did not feel comfortable giving that information directly, but they did feel comfortable sharing it with United Way. And so with all the players convened and collaborating, we were able to set up a process where now if a kiddo's in Boys and Girls Club, they're going to know that they're not going to school and attendance is an issue. And there's another trusted adult that's going to be able to step in and provide some interventions and support for that child. So that was huge. How am I doing on time? Could I do 2 more, Kylie? 2 more brags? 1 more brag. Okay, the last brag I'm going to do then is continuum of care. And I don't know how many of you know what this is, but United Way was really relevant in the creation and the beginning of this. And this was basically to find solutions for homelessness and to streamline a process where instead of having to call every single shelter for an individual who's experiencing homeless, you have one specific call. You call that person, they're able to get you in where you need to go based on your criteria, and it just eliminated a lot of hassle, created more efficiencies. What I love about this is they've now taken it a step further, and all the participants, all the shelters that are participating in this, then meet weekly to discuss treatment, to discuss next steps, to see who has an opening that they can move into a supporting housing unit. So we're ensuring that individuals who are experiencing homelessness also are getting the right solutions to their individual problems. As we move forward, we're going to be doing better, greater things. I promise you're still going to get these great solutions. But we're going to start, we have some things up our sleeve for this next year that we're going to be creating some excellent solutions. And so I'm really excited. I'm excited to come back next year. I'll have more time maybe and talk more, but that is in essence on what you get for your money. That's your bang for your buck.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
I think that that's one thing that you can see is that everyone is super passionate. So if you ever need any success stories or need to know what's going on, you can always reach out to Carrie. She would clearly be happy to tell you a story about any partner that can help you out. So thank you, Carrie. We're going to move on now to Angelica, and she's going to talk to us about volunteering, which might seem kind of scary or strange right now, but she is going to make it not so scary and strange.
All right, well, that's something to live up to. Thank you, Kylie. I actually don't have very many slides to share. I just want to start off by introducing myself. Some of you may not know me, some of you do. My name is Angelica Venena, and I've been with United Way since about 3 weeks prior to Kristen starting. Many of you know Sue Driscoll retired earlier this year, and just in time it seems, since the pandemic hit shortly after she retired, and it certainly has change the way in which we volunteer in our community. But as I said, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about volunteerism and then show a few slides, since I only have 5 minutes and Carrie took up some of that time. So we're going to do our best to stay on track because Kylie is a hatchet woman. So anyway, our mission is to bring people together to improve the lives of others and certainly to strengthen our community through volunteerism. I truly believe that when you volunteer, you make a huge statement with your hands, but also your heart about the world in which you want to live in. You know, our goal is to connect socially minded companies such as yourself and individuals to help meet our community's needs by engaging you in intentional and impactful volunteer activities. Last year, United Way connected with over 2,600 volunteers and contributed over 66,000 volunteer hours, which gets a net million of 1.6, a net of 1.6 million in volunteer dollars, really that gets funneled back into the community. And as I'd said, really the pandemic has had a negative impact, but we've really tried to take a look at the brighter side and see the silver lining in the ways we've been able to reimagine some of our volunteer activities. But it's really, as Carrie had said before, there's been a steep increase in the need from clients, compounding some of those negative effects with the decrease in the decrease in some of the revenue that they've received. So really, it's more important now than ever before to volunteer, to give, and to advocate on behalf of the organizations that we're working with. Excuse me. So volunteers can really help these nonprofits meet community needs and helping them build capacity and to be able to take on some of that additional work that they didn't expect when they were going into this year. And so with the implications of the pandemic, we've really had to think about what are some ways that we can volunteer virtually? What are some ways that we continue to be socially distant and abide by some of the health and safety recommendations? And so through that time, we have still done socially distanced hygiene kit build. So if that's something that you have really enjoyed doing in the past, we continue to do that. We've been able to do them from satellite sites, and I've been able to give instructions over Zoom, and we've had several different locations participate in those kit builds at one time. We have also recruited volunteers for food pantry deliveries. So there are still, there's less of a interaction with the organization and the volunteer. So we've really tried to make sure that that again, it's socially distant and that the volunteer has everything that they need before they go visit the agency site. And one of the other really neat things that we've done is to create a virtual volunteer highlight on our website. And then we've also created a community engagement bingo card, which have a lot of our Day of Caring participants really enjoyed doing this year. So I'll just take a quick moment and share my screen, and hopefully I pick the right one because we've got a lot to choose from here. I've got multiple screens up. So hopefully you guys all see our Volunteer Now site. If you don't already have access to this, it's really easy to sign up. You will just click the orange sign up button here. And I encourage you to use your work email address on here. That will help us track your participation and your organization's participation in some of the volunteer projects that we have. If you scroll down through the center here, you'll see we have several different highlights. The top one is still our COVID-19 volunteer response. And so these are opportunities that are in direct relation to some of those increased needs of the agencies. And then the orange highlight here is where you can make an impact remotely and explore different virtual and remote volunteer opportunities. We have that organized here, and then you can scroll down and see all of the different volunteer opportunities that you don't need to go to a site to participate in. So I encourage you to take a look at that if you want to volunteer virtually. If your employees continue to work from home, there are still a lot of ways that you can feel like you are making an impact in the community. Kylie also shared with you, I think there were about 5 documents, these volunteer handouts. Many of you are familiar with all of these different volunteer opportunities, so you can just scroll through that. But I just wanted to make sure that I pointed out the Volunteer Now site. Again, that's what I just showed you. This is our one-stop volunteer matching site, and it shows you how to create your account and build your profile and check a few different things. This is the handout that we used for our virtual Day of Caring. There's just a couple of great things there that you can explore. So again, it was really important for us and our nonprofit organizations to think outside of the box and how we can continue to share the love with our community and with our neighbors. Early on in the pandemic, mental health was such a key component in self-care. And so really, we wanted to make sure that we shared our light and our love through volunteerism with everybody during that time. And then the last one here is just that virtual community engagement bingo that we created. And it just has a lot of easy one-step volunteer opportunities that you can do. And it's really fun to do with your employees and encourage them to fill out a whole card or just do a bingo, and you can do a prize or whatever afterwards. But again, we saw a lot of success with this for the companies who participated in our Day of Caring. If you have any extra questions or would just really like some more information on volunteering and how I can help you meet some of your philanthropic volunteer goals, feel free to contact me, and my contact information is actually at the very bottom of that last slide there. And I think I went slightly over my time, but it's all back to you, Kylie.
Good work, Angelica. I know we feel like we have so much to share, but we want to really be respectful of your time. Kelly is gonna magically get us to share her screen of our toolkit. So the one thing that I would just encourage you to do is if you have any questions, this is constantly getting updated. It's just our regular campaign toolkit on our website, and it gets you everything that you might need in an electronic form. Stuff, like I said, stuff is getting added all the time, and I would just encourage you. I know that for some of you, you've done some things forever and ever, right? And it's just finding a way this year to do it maybe in a different way. One example that I'll share with you is I know a lot of you do the Almost Famous popcorn sales. And before that might have been you had a display in your lobby and everyone went down and bought the popcorn. And now everyone's working from home, and how does that look? So they are doing online sales where you can order online, they'll deliver it to your house, and you can still use it as a fundraiser for United Way. So there's things like that that you can still do that are important to your campaign, and we just have to think a little bit outside the box. The other thing that I would really encourage you to do, we're still having loan executives this year, and your United Way staff is a great resource, right? We go to webinars, we hear what other people are doing, we steal their ideas. Transamerica is doing a TED Talk with Zach Johnson. I'm not saying everyone can do a TED Talk with Zach Johnson, but there are things that we can do that maybe are new to us, that are different ideas, that we can get different people involved. More people might want to do a happy hour Zoom than did before. So I think that there are lots and lots of ideas. So I know that it's maybe scary this year, but I don't want you to be scared. I want you to think of it as an opportunity to try new things, to do new things, to find new ways to connect with your employees. Because the most important part of this is that we're still telling the same story. We're still thinking of Carrie in the back of our minds and thinking about the need in our community and sharing the success stories of the work that your dollars are funding in our community. And so we just have to find new and creative ways to do that. I caught us back up, and Kelly's going to talk a little bit about social gambling, which also might look a little bit different this year, and agency speakers, which are going to look a little bit different this year. Kelly, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Social gambling is considered any game of chance. So if you pay to play, it is social gambling. And we are one of the few organizations that actually do this in the legal way. We have a license, and we're required to have that license on your premise when you are doing social gambling. And I realize it could be a little bit different this year with the pandemic, but if you do a raffle, we need to have that social gambling license there. And the other major important thing is there's paperwork to be filled out. Everybody loves paperwork, but I cannot express to you the importance of it. If we ever get audited and we do not have the correct paperwork, we lose our license. And that is, social gambling is really big for United Way. We have a lot of people that do it, and we appreciate it very, very much. But we do need you to fill out the paperwork. Talk to your LE, talk to your staff person. They will help you, guide you through it, get it to you, whatever you need. You can always call me. I'm happy to walk you through. I'm happy to email it to you, so just let me know. Our agency speakers are going to be different. We're going to have some virtual things that we can do. So if you want an agency speaker, please let us know. Please tell your LE, please tell your staff person. We're going to have some recorded things. We can also invite them to one of your Zoom meetings. There's going to be options that we can still supply you with anything you need. So Kylie, was there anything else on that I missed?
Nope, I think that's great. So there, like Kelly said, there will be some pre-recorded options. So if you're sending out an email to your team or putting it on your company intranet, those options are available. Or if you're going to have a Zoom meeting with your teams, we can also invite people, and it would just be like we were in the room with you, except that we're not in the room with you. So our agencies are still really excited to tell their stories, and so don't shy away from inviting them or getting some information from them. Arthur is gonna lead our brainstorming session, which I think is always what you guys get the most out of. And so he's gonna talk to you about kind of what that's gonna look like. And then through Kelly's wizardry, we're going to put you into some different rooms so that you're in smaller groups so that you can chat, and then we'll come back together and share some ideas. But I'm gonna let Arthur talk a little bit about what that might look like.
Yep, thank you, Kylie. Everybody can hear me, yes? Beautiful. So like Angelica mentioned while she was talking, we did send out a bunch of documents before the meeting. One of them is the campaign ideas. It's 2020 campaign event idea sheet. And that has a lot of ideas that we kind of constantly update every year. So that's a good resource to start out with. But what we are going to do now is one of the more fun parts of coordinator training, and that is breaking into small groups and kind of talking about what you guys do for your campaigns. It's a great chance to kind of brainstorm with other companies about what they're doing and how we can adapt. So Kelly is about to break you guys into groups of maybe 4 or 5. The only thing as I will ask is if you see somebody from a company that you work in your group, one of the 2 of you pop back out and Kelly will put you into a new group. So for example, Taya and Nick, if you guys find yourself in the same group, you should probably be separated anyway. But we also want different companies having sharing all the ideas through. So
Okay, so this is my first attempt at putting you in rooms. So I will also have the ability to send you a little note on here. So let's do it. Good to see you.
Ooh, man, I'm seeing all these connections with people. It's weird.
You're on mute. Well, I can't hear you.
Oh, no, I'm not on mute. You can't hear me?
Weird. We're about to kick everybody else out of their rooms, so. There we go. I think we have everybody back in.
Look at us and our technology.
I'm telling ya.
Yep.
I'm getting these ideas for my virtual employee staff retreat. Great.
Hey, Kylie, it's so good to see your face.
You too, Heather. We're co-friends.
Yes, we
Anyway.
are. I feel like I see you like once a year, so I'm like, whoa.
Yes. Arthur, do you want to lead our discussion on what was the best from each room?
sure, I only have my breakout room to go from, but if we want to pick 1 or 2 people from each room, I think the big thing from our room that we had talked about was kind of adjusting to, and I feel like it's going to be with every room, is adjusting to how folks are working. You know, every company's got folks that are working on site and folks that are working remotely or some combination or one or the other. You know, a lot of them are rotating over at ESCO. You know, they've got union and non-union, folks working on site, folks not working on site. Raining Rose, it's actually rotating through who's working on site and who's not. Alliant has almost always had that with folks working in the field versus working in the office. Derek never actually got to finish his. So Derek, do you want to talk a little bit about what you were talking about with what's going on at Raining Rose?
Yeah, so usually in the past, what we try and do to get people kind of amped up and excited is we put a video together on how people have been impacted, whether it's directly, you know, services from United Way, whether it's volunteering, different ways. And, you know, Raining Rose is very much a, you know, kind of a family approach to things. And so we want to, I think how we get the most donations is trying to make it a personal touch, how it's impacted through Raining Rose. So something that we will continue to try and do this year. Obviously will look a little bit different because usually we play that video through an all employee meeting, which we're not doing anything like that right now. So you know, using more of the virtual aspect. So obviously we'll lose a little bit of the touch there, but Also interested if anyone else has figured out how to solve that side of things. Definitely all ears to get better ideas there.
So we also had actually 2 companies talk about doing lunch and learns and kind of virtual gatherings almost, where we can talk about what's going on and resources and the need to donate. And then Diana also talked about silent auctions and raffles and kind of those events that we can kind of move online. And one of the things that we had talked about was, using the collective here and your staff person and your loaned executives. We've seen any number of combinations of how to do basic events. So silent auctions, we know that we've done them in person. There's ways to do it on paper, but there's also free websites out there. I told them 23 auctions. Is that the name of the site that we had come across before? There are 32 auctions is a free website, and there is actually a pay option, but it's an online silent auction site that you can use. But use your loaned executives and your staff people. If you have an idea that you can't seem to get off the ground, or you really want to take the next step with, because we probably have seen it before, and we'll be able to help you out with some resources you may not know about. That was kind of it from our group. I don't know what other groups we had.
Carol, do you want to report from our room? Our room was more fun. We talked about, pieing the boss and people shaving their legs and their heads. And
well, you've just done it, Kylie.
sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, that's fine. No, we talked about doing the silent auction baskets, something like that. We did talk about the pie in the face. Sheila brought up a great concept about people used to do penny wars. Well, with the coin shortage this year, you're not going to be able to really to do that, and not being on site to do that either. So kind of some similar ones that Arthur had already talked about. So yeah. And the sumo wrestling, Kylie came presented with us with those suits that you can be completely enclosed and bump into each other. And where you get those in Cedar Rapids, I have no idea, but we'll try. If somebody wants to do it, we'll try to find them for you.
Yeah, we know Whirlpool had them.
Yep.
One thing our group talked about that was interesting was all of our companies do bags tournaments, and apparently you can do that virtually. I'll have to research because that seems interesting to me. Not sure how it works yet, but
I like it. What questions still remain? Does anyone have a question they want to ask the larger group?
Kylie, do you have a date when our videos that you guys are producing will be ready and online, ready to go for them?
Those will be done the end of August. So I'm not sure if you all talked about it. So each of our agency partners is going to create a video that we can send to you that you could email out or post somewhere. In addition to them joining you for a live event, we're also creating 3 kind of story videos of a teenage kiddo, his family, and then a person that they help. And it's kind of a 3-part series of this is how it might look in Cedar Rapids if there's a child in crisis, and kind of it follows his story. So those will be available as well. They're going to be short, like 2-ish minute videos that kind of walk through that tell the story of how someone might get help with United Way. So all of those things will be available by the end of August. In addition to, like I said, people joining you live if you want to do that. One thing I want to talk about really quick, we did include kind of an instruction sheet on the campaign envelope this year. Usually we talk about it and then you don't fill it out until October, November, and it's very confusing. So hopefully that instruction sheet will help you fill that out a little bit. If you are an e-pledge company, your Ellie and your folks will be in touch with you to get that information so that Abby can load that in our system for you. If you are a company that uses a third-party processor, just a friendly reminder that we don't always get specific individual employee information from that. And so it's hard for us to recognize your leadership givers. So if there's any way that you can encourage them to share all of their information with us, that would be great, because then we can thank them properly and recognize them as leaders properly. The other thing is about designation. So if you have folks that designate, just remind them that since that, it feels like it takes a really long time, because they might make a gift in September, but it doesn't really hit your payroll until January. And then we don't pay out until the first quarter in March. So if they designate a gift to the Humane Society and anticipate that they're going to have that by the end of the year, they're really not. They won't physically get that gift until March, which seems like a really long time, but that's just the way that the system works, I guess, for lack of better words. But as always, if anything comes up, we're also going to start a Facebook group for you guys so that you can post things on there, get ideas from each other. The United Way staff will be chiming in on that to help you with any questions. But you can always reach out to anyone on our staff. Kelly really is the boss of all of us. I don't know if y'all know Kelly, but she really keeps the ship upright and keeps us all in line and knows everything that's going on. So Kelly is always a great point of contact. If you're like, I don't know who my person is, I don't know, just know Kelly. Kelly will get you to wherever you need to go. She keeps us
I'm
all
always at the phone.
Yes. And it looks like Nicole has a helper. Young man, are you available to help if anyone needs it? He looks like he would be a great addition to any campaign.
Kylie,
As long as there's snacks, it looks like he would be available to help.
Kylie, are you on Twitter?
Yes. Yep. United Way is on Twitter. But like I said, I think you can reach out to any staff person. Some of us are more creative than others. Arthur really is our tech guy. So if you have a tech question, maybe Arthur is your person. I think the other beautiful thing is you can reach out to each other. I think steal ideas from each other. Jay, you've been pretty quiet. Isn't there anything you want to share with us? Jay loves it when I make him talk in meetings.
You've done a great job. So I would just add that we're learning as well. And so reach out to us and we'll reach out to whoever we need to get answers for you. Just try to help as best we can. So it's about all I have, Kylie.
Good work, Jay. That was a good addition.
Hey, Kylie.
Yes.
I would just re-talk about the third party. I think that is part of their contract, and they really have to ask or change their contract or put verbiage in their contract that we can receive that information. So it's something that has to be approached by them. They won't talk to us, of course, so it has to be done by them because that's their contract directly with them. So
very good. So sometimes, just for an example, we might get a check from a company, from a third-party processor, and it's just like $25,000. We don't know who gave us, what of your employees gave us that money. We don't know how much they gave us. And so the hard part for us is we want to thank people, right? We want to let people know the impact they're having. And if we don't get that information, then we're unable to do that. And we're unable to tell you how many people gave from your company. So your participation might look very bad because we just don't know that information. So any help that you can give us in that area allows us to recognize your employees as they should be, I would say.
Sharing that with your HR department is a big thing. So if you can just make sure you share it with them that we can't thank people and their participation looks really not great.
May I ask a question on the designations?
Yes.
We have several people who designate to their churches. But it doesn't seem like I assume you pay those quarterly.
Yes.
But do you break down who those donations are from? Because it seemed like one person's church, they just got a dollar amount from United Way, but they didn't know which parishioner it came from.
Yes, I think that they
That.
get a report if they have released that information, said it's not anonymous, then they get a report from us that gives them that breakdown. And so
They
it might
actually
be
have to
that,
go online.
yeah, it might be that the person at the church doesn't know how to read the report, but if they send us an email, or then our staff
Oh.
can kind of help them walk through that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Anybody else have a question for the good of the group? Awesome. I'm giving you 3 minutes back. I feel bad. Now Carrie and Angelica are going to accuse me of like being a crazy person.
They're not online right now. It's okay.
Okay, no one tell Carrie or Angelica that I gave you 3 minutes of your day.
May I ask one more question? Sorry.
Yes.
As we went through this, education really has me concerned. Are you finding people, agencies requesting funds for, say, computers or internet access for children to be able to succeed in school? Or is that just totally a school district issue?
No, I think it's an everywhere issue. And I think so right after the pandemic hit, we set up our COVID Cares Fund. And so we had a lot of corporations jump in and donate large money to that. And so people are able to apply for specific needs that they might have surrounding if it's connected to COVID. So if Big Brothers and Big Sisters said, we need more computers because kids, our kids are doing more stuff online, they could apply for those funds and we could get them that money. So I think that it's affecting people in very different ways. I think kids not getting school lunch was a bigger problem than people anticipated. So the food was more of an issue than I think we originally thought that it might be. And so I think as things like that keep happening, and I anticipate that school is always going to change. I don't know. If you have a teenager, this is a brutal time, maybe little kids too, but not knowing what the school is going to do, I think as that changes, those needs are going to change and the funding is going to change for that too. So another granting of those funds are going to go out in August. So coming soon, another dispersion from that fund will be going out to partners that need funds.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I just want to say, everyone, thank you again for joining us. And as always, don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything from us.
Great meeting. You guys did great.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks everyone for coming. Have a good day.
Bye.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Hi, Luann.
Bye.